Good evening and welcome to my live stream, Fight CPS and Stop Taking Our Children. I'm your host, Bob Pace, and it's a warm welcome that I'm glad you joined me because I've been doing this live stream twice a day, 7 days a week for 23 months, almost 2 years. I come on at weekdays, 10 a.m., Monday through Friday. On the weekends, I come on at 8 a.m., Saturday and Sunday. Then I come on a second time at 7 p.m. at night. And that is 7 days a week. The times I give you are on the Pacific Standard Time. I'm on the west coast of California. If you're Mountain Time, you're an hour ahead of me. Central Time, you're 2 hours. Eastern Time, you're 3 hours. In the United Kingdom, you're 8 hours. In Europe, you're 9 hours. And Africa, you're 9 hours. So that sort of gives you kind of the time zones. Now, I've heard from 24 countries, not only the United States, but countries like Indonesia, Bangladesh, India. Then in the Middle East, I have Saudi Arabia and Iraq. And then I have Libya. Then over to Africa, I have Liberia and Sudan and Republic of Congo. Then Rwanda, Mozambique, and then the provinces of South Africa. Then up to Europe, I have the United Kingdom, England, Scotland, Wales. I also have Denmark and Sweden. Then across the pond to North America, I have Canada and its provinces. In the United States, and all 50 states have text or called in. I even heard from Washington, D.C. Then south of the border, I heard from Mexico. And then in South America, north of Brazil, on the East Coast is Grenada. Then across the South Pacific, New Zealand, and then the land down under Australia and its states. So that's 24 countries, including the U.S. and all 50 states. That's 75 different localities. Now, keep in mind, each state has counties, and in each county, there is a government entity that's supposed to protect your children from neglect and abuse. Furthermore, if they find it's necessary, the children are in danger, and they have to break with the family, they're supposed to do what's called family reunification, where studies have shown the best parents to raise children are the biological parents. So if the hiccups can be corrected, they're going to try to do that. But unfortunately, in 1997, Bill Clinton signed a law called the Incentive Act, where the federal government pays additional $35,000 per child to the child protection system to have them adopted into foster care. They say family reunification is too long, it's too lengthy. Problem is, a lot of the programs they have to go through, some are 52-year week program, like domestic violence. It's a 52-week class. That's 52 classes for a year you got to take. There's programs like drug rehab and other kinds of drugs rehab. They take time. Parenting classes sometimes are usually a month, 4 sessions, but sometimes they can be long too. Sad to say is that family reunification isn't seem to be something CPS thinks about. Now, I'm not saying all CPS is bad. I'd say approximately 50% of the CPS entities out there are bad. It's a 50-50 chance that you'll encounter a bad CPS. I did in my case. And I think that the 2,700 people I've talked to have the similar thing where their children, where their home was invaded and illegally searched, and the children were taken into foster care when they weren't in danger. That's the sad part. But I do want to welcome key people tonight. I see some really happy family members. David Halago, welcome. David is from Santa Maria, and he has a case in Santa Barbara County. His attorney is Vincent Davis, and it's a tough case. The Santa Barbara County is CPS there, the Child Protection System, is trying to drag it out. His court date is until November, but he has not seen his daughter since February. Now, if you see my head drop down, I have notes here on my notepad. And I take notes. But David says they keep dragging out and dragging out, and he doesn't have visitations because his daughter alleges that her father did inappropriate acts to her. And that's a hard case to prove otherwise because it happens all the time. But he says he has enough witnesses, enough evidence to suppress that. Now, Veronica Bueno was in here. I think her name was different the first time. Hello, Bob. How are you? So, what's this? Should we start paying attention to the news? Well, there's a lot of stuff in the news that's bad. Today we had a terrible tragedy where a church was set afire and people have been killed and injured. And it's sad that has happened. Now, Veronica, I have no idea where you're from. I forgot. And if you did tell me, I apologize. You're usually pretty good about remembering it. Well, I have no idea why the fire was set at a later date uh, at the church. Churches are different. I know, especially because I'm very much involved in the Catholic Church and the Calvary Baptist Church, which are two churches I go to regularly, only because my wife's a devout Catholic. She is extreme Catholic. And my three children are raised Catholic. I have six children, by the way. My three youngest, I have two groups, the three older ones, the younger ones. My three youngest were raised as Catholics, but as they grew older, they shied away from it. My oldest daughter, I have no idea what she's into now. She experimented a little bit with Buddha, but I find out with churches that there's a lot of suppression by people acting one or another. I don't know if the church was a setup. I know the FBI is investigating right away. They had to they had to kill the guy that was driving to the church. He wouldn't stop. But I think about all the children and what's happened with all the children. So where are you from, Veronica? You're from Fairview, California. All right, now I remember. You're from Fairview, California. Thank you for telling me that, Veronica. And what is your case about? Hi, Betty Joe. Welcome. Betty Joe's from Montana. She's a foster care mom. She's trying to actively get her niece, her brother's daughter, back to live with her. I'm doing okay, Betty. How are you doing? I'm so glad that you came here tonight. So we have Betty Joe from Montana, David Halago from California, and Veronica from California. We have Naomi Floridas, who's on my morning show. I remember you. How was church? It's always good to go to church because there's always a message in church. And it's interesting how the churches have different messages. You're back together with your partner, Naomi. I didn't know you guys were apart. I must have missed something there, Naomi. And where about are you from, Naomi? Where are you from? What part of the world? Your niece goes to Catholic church. Well, that's pretty good. Is that the niece you're trying to get back that goes to Catholic church? She's awful young, so I know the other day you asked about my eyes, Betty Joe. My eyes get tired, but tonight I have my contact lenses out and resting my eyeballs. So hopefully my eyes look a lot better. Naomi is from San Diego. I go to the Calvary Baptist Church. And my wife goes to Mary by the Sea Church. And in San Diego, you went to the St. Joseph Cathedral. I don't think I've been there. And that is so good with the blessing that you gave. I know life can be lonely, Veronica. It can be lonely whether you're in a relationship or not in a relationship. And especially when your children going, it can be really, really bad when your children are gone. And so I know the feeling of loneliness. And especially when your children are taken from you, your life is disrupted. And then as your children grow up, they leave the nest and fly on their own. And they try to do a good job on their own. And then now Betty Joe says we're not Catholic. Well, that's okay. I'm not Catholic either. Some people ask, well, what are you? Well, I believe in God and I believe in the Son of God, which was Jesus Christ. So with us that believe and I believe in the Bible, they call us Christians. The word Catholic or Presbyterian or all the different names they all have something in common. They all believe in Jesus Christ, but they have different churches, different politics. Then there are the Native American Indians around the world. Well, not around the world, I should say in North America, but there's the indigenous people. When I say indigenous people, I'm talking about the Polynesians. I'm talking about the First Nation people in Canada. I'm talking about the Native Americans in the United States. So those people may not believe in what we call God and Jesus Christ. They believe in what's called the Great Spirit, and they recognize more of the land as part of the things there. And Nomi tells Veronica, "You're not alone. Stay strong." Well, that's sweet of you, Nomi. That's sweet in there. And I'm glad you're hanging in there, Betty Joe, because I know how hard it is what you do, being a foster mom, and you're taking care of a little boy. That's quite a challenge, and you're trying to get back your niece. And Veronica is from Fairfield, California, which I believe is in Northern California. Am I right, Veronica? My case is about my children. I miss them. Their dad died in prison. Well, that's sad. He's in prison. He's incarcerated, and he died. That's really sad when parents die. It's all part of the circle of life. Some of us have big circles, some have little circles. We are not happy with her going to a Catholic church. Well, I agree because I think your niece is really young. I think she's what, 4 or 5 years old? I think your niece is very young. At least she's going to a church. At least she's going to a church. Well, Veronica, if you want to make yourself known, you can go to news outlets, you go to a local paper or local TV station and tell them about your story. If it's interesting enough, they will put you on the news. The courts, of course, have abandoned you because they're interested in the money. It's all about money. CPS is a money making thing, it's all about money. I know it's true, Veronica. I don't know if you still loved your husband that was in prison, but whatever reason he had to go to prison, it's not a good place to go to. It's not a good place to go to. Yeah, Betty Joe, she says she's too young to go there. Well, it's interesting because when my children were young, I should talk about my three youngest children. They went to a daycare, or not a daycare, but they went to a nursery at a Catholic church. They were taken care of by nuns while we would go to Mass and pray to God. As they got older, the kids were put into a group that halfway through the service went up front behind another room and talked about Jesus Christ and God in their terms. Because, as young children, it's hard to understand, especially in the Catholic Church, because they have really strong rituals. But I do feel that it's important that children are exposed. Now, Veronica says it's not true. I never abandoned my son. Who says they abandoned your son? Did the courts label that you abandoned your son? I feel a victim of a corrupt. I don't want them to grow up more without me. Well, that's the hard thing we have to face. My daughter was coached and cohered by the CASA, the social worker, and the court judge into divorcing the parents. Those people led her to believe it's better to work it out than try to be with your parents. They did a perfect example of alienation, which is illegal. So my daughter divorced us parents. She changed her name completely. She got a new birth certificate. She applied for a second Social Security card and double dipping from my retirement plan. So it's really, really, really sad. It really is. Okay. Um, Albert, you're new. Welcome, Albert. Um, I thought your name is Albert. You're from El Cajon, California. Okay, that's inland down in the San Diego area. That's going down towards Mexico. Thank you for your thank you for your compliment. Can I ask for a different social? Yes, you can ask for a different social worker. Now, Albert says his name is Jesus. Welcome, Jesus. And He's from El Cajon, California. That's the San Diego area, southern part of Southern California. And so you want to get a different social worker. Tell me more, and I'll try to help you. I know how important it is for your sons to grow up with you, Veronica. You can still fighting. Yes, Betty. She is 2 years old. A niece being forced to go to Catholic church. Well, I think it is the caregivers she's with are Catholic and they have to go to mass and they have to have someone watch your niece. And that's why it's like that. That's why it is like that. Now, Albert down in El Cajon, California says, does the state or CPS make money while having kids? They certainly do. It's $1 trillion business. The federal government sends billions of dollars to the state, and the state sends millions of dollars to the county. Now, every state has counties. Each county deals with CPS separately. So you have the county level, the state level, and the federal level. But it's all about money. It's $1 trillion business. It's all about money. So, for instance, one child in California that's taken in, the state gets $20,000 from the county for that child per month. If that child gets adopted anywhere in the United States, any the county gets additional $35,000 from not the state, but from the federal government. It's an incentive that was signed into law in 97 that Bill Clinton signed a law that basically said that reunification takes too long, so they're going to give the Child Protection Agency a $35,000 bonus to have the child adopted into foster care. And it's all about money. So much money. The county is sending the state $20,000 for each child. They get additional $10,000 on top of that money for special needs children. Now, Tessa French says, and hey, Bob, can I call in? Sure can. Let me put my phone number up. I forgot to do my housekeeping banners. But I'd certainly like to hear from you, Tessa. Also, I forgot where you're from, Tessa. I'd like to hear about that. So please, I would call you back. Who said I would call you back? You said the word she. I don't call people right now. I used to call for people that wanted interested in hiring Mr. Davis, but I've stopped doing that for a while. So I only take calls during my live stream. Right now, you can call me at 626-698-0990. That's my work number. You can call me right now. Now, Natasha Woodcocks. You say it's a silent stream. How is it silent? Good evening. I hear my
Hey,
yeah, hi there. This is Tessa.
yes, it is.
Glad to meet you, Tessa. What part of the world are you from?
I'm from Shasta County, California.
Okay, welcome to the live stream. And Natasha Woodcocks had just sent me a message, says it's a silent stream. It's only silent when I'm not talking. And some people say I talk too much. But it's very live. There's live people. I have Tessa French on the phone from the Shasta County area, which is up in Northern California. And then I have a call. I'm sorry, what Tessa?
I was saying you're right, but we're very far north.
Yeah, right. I have a caller in from New York. I can only talk to one person at a time. Whoever has area code 646-512, you have to wait a moment to call in, okay? So we have someone from New York is calling in. But there's no way. Okay, now they dropped it. Okay. Now, Bartley, another person from Montana, has joined Betty Joe. Bartley is from Montana. Good evening, Bartley. She's a wonderful mother and she's trying to get her boy back. And Betty Jo just said, "Good evening, Bartley," which is nice, which is nice. Now, Natasha, are you not hearing all right? You said it's a silent stream, Natasha. And what part of the world are you from? Now, I'm going to put down one of my banner things that you can do if you do a message. Again, the New York caller is calling in a second time. I can only talk to one person at a time. I can only talk to one person at a time. Okay. Oh, okay, Tessa, you have run into a problem. We talked a year ago. Wow. Are you surprised I'm still around?
No, you do good work, Bob.
Well, thank you very much, Tessa. And what is the big problem you've run into? How can I help you?
So about a year ago, they removed my son, and I talked to you then about it. We are still in reunification. We have our 6-month review on Tuesday. However, I just had a new baby. She is about 12 days old. And the hospital that I had her at decided that they were going to report it to our county CPS because 6 months ago I was smoking weed and it showed up on my test. However, I don't smoke anymore.
Okay.
However, they're now trying to say that they're accusing us of general neglect.
Right.
Even though she's not even 2 weeks old yet.
Well, the surprises me when parents have children, when they have an open case of CPS, their child is immediately taken from them. They're not supposed to have any children while they're going through CPS. Did you not know that?
Which isn't fair, yeah.
It's the law. I mean, it's the law. It's the CPS law. There's two kinds of laws. There's the law of the government, and the law of the CPS. They say when you first get a CPS coupon, you are not supposed to have any more children until your case is resolved. So you're lucky.
They don't tell you that either.
Well, they're supposed to. I guess Shasta County didn't. But I remember that in Orange County. Go ahead.
But the thing is we've done every class that they've asked of us, and we are finishing up our domestic violence classes, which this is our second class, and we are almost done with parenting. We have 4 weeks left of parenting. So I'm just at a loss because a general neglect would be like I didn't take care of her or I didn't do something that would have been detrimental to her health.
Well, smoking marijuana is why they charge you with neglect.
Right.
It's not you may have quit, but because you had smoked it once, they're saying that you may have done neglect to your daughter because children of the age of 21 are not supposed to be around people that smoke marijuana or drink or anything else. They have to be 21 to have marijuana or alcohol, and the drugs are illegal. A lot of the drink, like cocaine and other drugs, are illegal. So that's why they charged you with neglect. And apparently they didn't tell you about that you're not supposed to have more children. It's kind of a terrible way of birth control, but they say that you're not supposed to have any more children until your case is resolved.
It's confusing because when I had my son, the one that they currently have, when I had him, I had an open case. And I had him for 7 months before they got a call about, hey, you need to go investigate them.
Well,
but I had an open case then that was on the way to being closed.
Yeah, but you're lucky they didn't get it quicker. It's just like the guy that speeds on the freeway. If the freeway sign says 65 miles an hour, and for the last 3 years you go over 65, you don't get caught. One day you will be, and I think that's what they happen to do. Is that they said, "Oh, you had a child, and you've been smoking marijuana, so you're neglecting your child, so we're going to take you from it." Anyway, so how's it stand now? How's it stand now?
Well, they are still doing investigations. house. They did the whole walkthrough. They checked out the baby. And then I asked them, because I seen one of Vincent's things about you have the right to know what the accusations are. And so I asked her, and she said general neglect.
Yeah, but that's
And
so
that's
vague. That's so
hard.
vague. You know, general neglect is so vague.
It is. It really is. Because I looked up what that means. And I'm like, okay, well, other than smoking weed 6 months ago, they really don't have anything.
Well, you have to understand,
Like,
Shasta County is like all the other counties in California. They want to make money. In order to make money, they have to have a child in custody. $20,000 per child per month is hard to pass up. Now,
well, you know what's strange is our current social worker met the baby. We went to drug test twice last week, once for the intake worker and once for our normal worker. And the tests come back all clean for everything. And she met the baby, and she didn't seem concerned at all. You know, and this social worker normally would tell you, oh, you know, you want to be careful, or something that would make you on edge, because she is not a very nice person. She needs to retire, put it that way.
yeah.
But, you know, it's just strange because she would know about the investigation, and if she felt like something was going to happen, she would voice it, because that's the type of person she is. And it's just so weird because my entire pregnancy, they knew about her. And even in the hospital, the notes in my hospital stuff said that when they called the county said a response isn't warranted. But then when I showed the intake worker that, she's like, oh, it's probably just a no. But they didn't want to come all the way down to Chico. And I'm like, I highly doubt that. If they thought I was a risk to my child, they would have come down here and taken her. Because that's what they do.
Yeah. Yep. Let me there's some comments that came in the room. There's some comments that came in the room that I want to address. Okay. Yeah. Betty Joe says a California foster parent receives a monthly reimbursement, not a salary, that ranges from approximately $1,000 to over $3,000 per child per month. So that's good news to know about. Now, Albert says his kids, Jesus, has been in a foster home for about a month, yet I've not had my visit. My first visit was canceled because apparently there is a restraining order that doesn't allow me to see my daughter. Well, your wife filed the restraining order, most likely, and that's why you don't have a visitation. And so the restraining order is probably your wife that you did some type of domestic violence and is restraining you. That's what's happening. I think that's what it is, Betty Joe. Hello, Rocky. Rocky's from New York, has a brother in Virginia. He says, tell your viewers to like and share and subscribe to this video. Well, this is not a video. This is a live stream, Rocky. It is recorded, but this live stream, you can send me emojis. That's a thumbs up, a smiley face, or a heart, or even a star. And you can also follow me. And if you want to be notified, you can click the notification. So, Rocky, this is a video after it's been recorded, but it's live right now. It's live right now. Now, Betty Joe says you can have many children if you want, as long as you prove them wrong in the CPS case. I don't know what you mean. Betty Joe's from Montana. She's a foster care mom. You can have many children if you want, as long as you prove them wrong in the CPS case. I don't know if you mean when they're pregnant. When you are pregnant, Orange County told me that my wife and I could not have any more children. Now, I don't know if it varies from state to state or county to county. And I don't know what you mean by many children. Maybe you mean make as many children. Betty Joe says it's a fault because Oregon is legalized for all drugs. Now, who is in Oregon right now? I know that Betty Joe's in Montana, Rocky's in New York, Albert is down in El Cajon down in San Diego. Tessa French is from Mount Shasta, and she's on the phone talking right now from California. Let's see. Barkley is from Montana. Jesus Albert Hernandez. Jesus. So Albert is from El Cajon, San Diego. And Veronica is from I think Veronica is from up Northern California. I think she's from, let me see, where is she from? Fairview, California. So we have those in there. Let me go back down here because now Albert says, "Am I attorney?" No, I'm a man, a loving father. I have right now 43 years of marriage. I've raised 6 children. I have 61 years of working and life skills. So I'm a professional. I had a case myself. I'm sharing what would have worked better if I had followed my own rules. I have 5 of them made up there. Now Betty says they have to say it to the caseworker they want to go home to be with you. So the children have to say they want to go home, is what Betty Joe is saying. And Tessa, I know it's been a while. I can't believe your case is still going on. Now, Albert.
Yeah, we have our 6-month review coming up.
Right. Albert says, "It's a pleasure to meet you. How are you so knowledgeable about this subject? What is it when they took your kids?" Well, I've been fighting CPS for 15 years. I've talked to over 2,700 people for 2 years. I've talked to 2,700 people for 2 years. So I have a good knowledge. I also have a good attorney that's taught me, Vincent Davis. He was my attorney. I've learned a lot from him. Now, Tessa, you said someone would call you back. Who was that someone? Is that my office?
I think so.
Well, the problem being is that I used to do PNC calls, but I don't do that anymore, potential new clients. So I don't call out. People have to call in during my hours. So I apologize if you've been wanting to talk to me for some time.
That's okay.
Yeah, and Natasha still says it's silent. I think everybody's hearing me, Natasha. I don't know why it is there. Bartley had stumbled and fallen. She hurt her foot, so she had to rest it today. She had a terrible fall. She was visiting her son last Sunday and fell down, Betty Joe. And Albert says he's trying. Who is Natasha? Albert Hernandez. Okay. Bartley says again, good evening. Betty says he had to ask for a judge for a new caseworker. And now I have your message. I don't know why I got so far behind. Betty Joe says in her state, or maybe she knows more than I know, says, what'd she say? She says that it ranges from 1,000 to 3,000. That's to be a foster parent per child per month. Now, Albert says, my kids have been in foster home for about a month since, and yet not had a visit. My first visit was canceled because there's a restraining order against your daughter. Well, you can't visit them if there's a restraining order. And he must have done. Betty wanted to know, Albert, what did you do to cause a restraining order? I've already addressed Rocky. So I already told Rocky this is live stream. It is being recorded. And Betty Joe talked about having more children. And now I'm trying to find out what Oregon legalizes all drugs. Just because a drug is legal for adults doesn't mean you as a parent can have it around your kids. Alcohol and marijuana, you have to be 21. Smoking is really unhealthy around kids. If you're going to have children, you're going to have to give up smoking, drinking, and drugs. Now, Betty Jo says the quote that I gave for $20,000, I had got that from the Orange County, California, from paperwork that I saw that the state was paying for my three children of total of $60,000. Now, I know you may have information I don't know about, but I saw it on my own personal case. That's where I came up with the $20,000. And $60,000 is a lot of money for three children when they're in custody. So I don't know if that's for foster care or what, but they were paying, the social workers were getting from the state for having the children. I'm not talking about the foster parents. I'm talking about the social service was getting from the state. Now, Albert says, I live with the mother of the kids, okay, and she did not go to court and get a restraining order. Maybe someone else got a restraining order. Yes, they can put a restraining order. Maybe an in-law. Maybe an in-law did. Or maybe an uncle or a sister, somebody in your family did a restraining order. You have to get a copy of the restraining order. Go to the court system and get a copy. Now, they can't tell you that because that's against your HIPAA policy as an adult. Well, there's a lot of things they don't tell you, but I have eyes, and I definitely see the paperwork that the social worker is showing around. So I definitely look around there. Betty Jo says, "Hey Albert, go to the court and ask them if there's an active string and order if there's not an active. Get it in writing and take it to the caseworker, but give her a photocopy of it." Good idea, Betty Jo. Thank you for the info. Albert, I want you to look at that. Bartley says, "Bob, I'd like to know to get a restraining order on CPS in my county after the return of my son." You can get a restraining order, but you got to prove it. Anybody can get a restraining order, but you're going to have to go to court and prove it. So it's a temporary thing for a restraining order. So you just go to the sheriff and say you want a restraining order against the person you want a restraining order for. Hi, Cruella. Welcome. Cruella is from Ventura County. She has two parts to her case. She has an eviction case, a criminal case, and then she has her two babies that have been taken from her almost a year ago, and she's fighting them there. Now, Bartley says, or a no contact order from CPS. Oh, okay. Kelsey Bach, Kelsey and Michael have been in my room the last couple of days. I've been trying to help them. Now, Kelsey says, my friend Vincent Davis, but I don't think you're in LA County, Kelsey and Michael. So the quote I gave to you was approximation $5,000 for LA County and $500 an hour if you use Mr. Davis. But it's up to him to determine the price, and it's based on the complexity of your case and how long the case has been going. And that's not to sue, that's to defend yourself. If you want to sue them, I don't know what the arrangements are that Vincent Davis. You have to talk to him directly. Out-of-state lawyers are going to be more money because you're going to have to pay for the airfare, ground transportation, hotel accommodation, food, and a license to practice in the state. So out-of-state lawyers, I don't think are going to be cheaper than Vincent Davis. Now, Betty Jo says you can have it in your home as long as it's away from your children. Well, yeah, you can have it in your home. I'm not saying you can't, but you can't smoke marijuana in front of your children, and you can't drink alcohol or have them engage in alcohol or smoking marijuana or smoking, period. Can I hire me? Well, I'm not a lawyer, Nonomi, but you can hire Mr. Davis, and he can give you a quote for his retainer and salary wages down there. You can do that. Okay, I think I've caught up with Kelsey. Okay. Now, I have on the phone I have on the phone Tessa, who is from Shasta County in Northern California, Tessa French. She had talked to me a year ago. She's talking me to now. What else do you have for me, Tessa, to help you out with? Tessa, are you still there? Oh dear, I've lost Tessa. Let me check and see what's happened to Tessa. Okay, I lost Tessa, so let me try to get her back.
Hello?
Yeah, Tessa, I lost you.
Yeah, my phone dropped the call.
Oh, okay. Did you still want to continue your call?
Yes, if that's all right.
That's all right. The only person I have left to call is the person from New York that called me.
Okay.
But
Well, my main thing was, in your opinion, since we still have baby in the home, what would be the best route to go to keep her in the home?
well,
Like, what would you do?
I would definitely the keeper in the home. I do the is there still an open case, Tessa?
There is, but we are in reunification, and we are doing very, very good.
Who okay.
Like, very, very good.
Where are the children? How many children we're talking about?
We have one child with one open case.
And where you at on your where you at? Are you on the reunification? Are you for termination?
Yes.
What were you for reunification?
We have 6 more months of reunification, and we filed a JB 180 for overnights and home visits, which we go to court for on Tuesday. We go for a 6-month review and that JB 180 on Tuesday.
That is great to hear. Those are good news to tell me, Tessa. It sounds like you're in the home stretch. So what you got to do is you got to be on your best behavior, do everything they ask you to do. Now, are you using a court-appointed attorney?
Yes.
Make sure the court-appointed attorney know these 4 things. 1, if you're not guilty, make sure he says, "I want to make sure you know I'm not guilty." 2,
Right.
you want to make sure that you want family reunification. You want to impress upon your court-appointed attorney that you want family reunification, which sounds like you already have. Number 3,
Oh, yeah.
that you will follow whatever the judge orders. Doesn't mean what social service. The judge makes you determine on what you do, and he's the one that orders the plan and what you're supposed to do. So you tell your court-appointed attorney that you want him to let the judge know that you'll follow whatever the court tells you to do, whatever the court tells you to do.
We have been. CPS isn't listening to the
Well,
judge,
don't worry
though.
about CPS. It's the judge that's going to make the decision in the end. And then lastly, you want to impress upon your court-appointed attorney that you want to have as much visitation with your child as much, even if it requires supervision or Zoom. That's fine. You want to have as many visitations with your child.
Just tell me what to tell the attorney, pretty much. The same stuff.
Well, no, I just want you to impress upon that, because if the attorney doesn't want to do this work, you can tell him point blankly, if you do this, I will do a lawsuit for negligence. I'll call Capital and talk to the state bar and have your license removed. That's a serious offense. That's a serious offense.
It is. No, that's why we're going for the JB 180 because at our last court date, the judge said to increase visitation and to that would be in the benefit of the child to increase visitation and to start or to they gave discretion to CPS to start overnights and home visits.
Okay. Okay.
But CPS's argument was, oh, well, we want them to finish all of their classes before we do any start and stop.
Well, is that what the court has? The court judge ordered you classes. The classes he's ordered you to do, you need to follow what the judge has told you to do.
Right, we're almost done. We've done double parenting, we've done double DV classes, we've done multiple different classes just to make the social worker happy.
I understand. And you have to do this because you're using a court-appointed attorney. Because your hands are tied behind your back. If you had a real attorney, you could fight it, but you don't have a real attorney. You don't have a real attorney. Okay, that sounds good.
Both of our attorneys are very upset about it because 4 months ago they basically were like, "Hey, increase their visits and try to start with the start and stop," and the social worker's like, "No."
Mm-hmm.
But everybody agreed that more visitation would be good.
Yeah. You definitely want to do as much visitation as you can. You want your children to want to come back and live with you. You want to press upon that.
Well, our son is only a little bit he's right at 1.5 years.
Right, and it's going to be hard for those kinds of children. I understand that.
Yeah. So it's a bit difficult because he's started to bond with the foster parents, and our attorneys aren't happy about that either because that causes a hardship on us when we do get him back. Because they are confident we will get him back, but we have to do what the social worker wants and play her game, as they say. We played the game once. My phone's off again? No. I think my phone dropped the call again.
Oh, no, you're still connected. You're still, okay. I'm going to have to end my live stream. I'm sorry to say that because it's 8 o'clock and I don't mean to go there, but it's 8:01, but I do have to end my live stream. And I don't want anybody to forget, but Kelsey and Michael, don't give up. Don't give up on trying soon. Vincent Davis will come to Indiana, but he's going to be a little bit more money because he's got to do transportation, accommodations, flight transportation, ground transportation, and he'll have to pay for food and then a license fee. You see, if he's home here in California, he can live out of his apartment and he's got food here and he doesn't have to go out and eat. But when you're in a different state, it's so hard because you have to live out of a hotel room and you need a car to go to the courthouse, a car to do some shopping or get some paperwork or stuff like that. You need an airplane to get there. And then on top of that, you need to have a license in that state. He doesn't have a license for every state. He only pays them when he goes to the work there. So I don't want you to give up the thought, Kelsey, of Vincent Davis. But you can talk to him. The phone number, by the way, for his office is 888-888-6582. Now, I'm going to replace my phone number with the federal government's information about how to file your information to the federal government if you're not being satisfied by the county or the state. If the county is letting you down and the state's letting you down, then you go to the federal government and you go to the government efficiency, DOGE. They have a website. They have a phone number. It's the White House, 202. And they have an email. So if you're not satisfied, you can contact them. You can talk to them. You can email them. So I'm going to leave that number up because we can't take any more calls. And so, Kelsey, I don't want you to give up. You said that you went from 10 hours a week. Now we're down to 2 hours. Is that the visitation? Hold on. Never signing paper. Okay. You've told me a lot in here, Kelsey. Kelsey and Michael, I need to catch up. I don't know of any good lawyers in Dearborn. I do not know. But I know you do have a case of violating your civil and your constitutional rights. I'm trying to catch up with Kelsey. Yeah, it's hard to determine what price you can. If you want to schedule a meeting with Vincent Davis, all you do is call 888-888-6582. It's the office, and he'll schedule a time with you. He'll come down to San Diego. Rocky, this is for Virginia. He gives information with the good old boy system. Okay. Betty Joe, Bob, have a great night. I got to get off. You take care, Betty Joe. I want to hire Vince Davis. You can. You call in 888-888-6582. Kelsey says, we keep looking for a lawyer in Dearborn County, Indiana, who would take on the case. And don't worry about the amount. The amount is going to be more than $3 million. Now, some people in dependency case want 30%. I've even heard 50%. That's how you negotiate it. But Vincent Davis does see CPS has won millions of dollars all the time. Right. You never want to sign the paperwork. You had a court-appointed attorney, and you need to follow what the judges say. And you don't want to sign anything if you don't feel comfortable. Strike it out and initial it. And you need to document. Those are all good messages, Kelsey. You're down to 2 hours. Okay. Okay, you're fighting. I understand that, Kelsey. Okay, good luck with the battle. I will have a good evening, and God bless you, Kelsey and Michael, and everybody's children. And that's a good way to sign off. So I'm going to get ready to sign off. I want to thank you all for listening. I hope I help you in some way. Don't panic. I'll be on again tomorrow. Tomorrow is Monday. I come on at 10 o'clock in the morning, 10 a.m. in the morning, and I will help you. I will help you. And I want you to have a good night. But remember, always fight for your family and your child. Never give up. Come here. I will help you. And God bless you all. And there'll be a short video at the end of my live stream. Please watch it. And again, God bless you all and have a really good evening. And thank you, Corilla. Thank you. Thank you for the information, Corilla. Thank you so much. So I'm signing off. God bless you, and I'll see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time.
A vivid picture is encrypted in your mind as the critics get in line like they're witnessing a crime. But then you notice there's a shiver in your spine from the feelings of discontentment and bitterness combined. Heartbroken when you listen to the judges, another kid's innocence corrupted. And if you go against then it's destructive. Consider this predicament the toughest, but we believe in a system fit for justice. Child Protective Services only pretends to save it. The one solution for this is worthy of instant praises. 30 years of experience with relentless cases. Allow me to introduce them. This is Vincent Davis, defending you when they don't think a mother fits the role. Is it juvenile dependency or government control? Observe the pain in their eyes. It's time for us to realize we are the
last ones left. Put your faith in